Okay, working through some practice problems. We have discussed vertex form and standard form now, so let's talk about what that looks like as we work through these problems and trying to graph a parabola. So we know that we need to find the axis of symmetry, the vertex, we need to fill in the values and then graph it. So we're going to start by what are A, B, C values. So A here is 1, B is 8, and C is 19. So the first thing we need to do is find our axis of symmetry. So x is equal to negative b divided by 2 times 1. That's our formula that we've learned before. We can simplify that to get negative 4. So our axis of symmetry is going to be at negative 4. So x is equal to negative 4. Draw that vertical line. That's going to be the line that is symmetric for our graph. Then we need to find the vertex. So if you remember, we're going to plug that in to our equation. So y is equal to negative 4 squared plus 8 times negative 4 plus 19. We're going to simplify that. We get 16 minus 32 plus 19. And we find out that the y value that goes with that negative 4 is 3. So our vertex here is going to be negative 4 and 3. So that's the point that I'm going to put in the middle of my table. Now remember, we're going to go 2 to the left and 2 to the right as far as graphing goes. So we're going to go to negative 5 and negative 6, and then we're going to go negative 3 and negative 2. So again, we can plug these values in. I can say y is equal to negative 6 squared plus 8 times negative 6 plus 19. I can plug those values in and simplify them. So y is equal to 36 minus 48 plus 19. I can do the math real fast on that. And I end up simplifying this to be y is equal to 7. So that is one of the ways that we can plug in the rest of the values for this table. We can do negative 6 and 7. The other option is to go into our calculator, again, do y is equal to, plug in this original equation. So we're going to do x squared plus 8x plus 19, and we get our table pulled up, and we have these values that we can plug in. So negative 6, 7, and then negative 5, 4, negative 4, 3, negative 3, 4, and negative 2, 7. So I'm going to plot those points. I end up with negative 6, 7, negative 5, 4, negative 4, 3, and then negative 3, 4, and negative 2, 7 are my points. I connect them. I noticed that I had an A value that was positive, so it's going in the right direction, so that's always good. And then I am finished with this problem. So then I can move on to the next value, or to the next question. Here I have an A value of negative 2, I have a B value of negative 4, and I have a C value of negative 1. Plug those in to find my axis of symmetry. So x is equal to negative B here is a negative 4, divided by 2 times A, which is a negative 2. So I end up with a positive 4 on top and a negative 4 on bottom, which simplifies to be negative 1. So my axis of symmetry is going to be negative 1. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that line straight up and down here on my graph. Okay, then from there, I plug that value into the original equation. So negative 2 times negative 1 squared minus 4 times negative 1 minus 1. Okay, and then I simplify. So negative 1 squared is 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. Negative 4 times negative 1 is a positive 4 minus 1. And of course, that simplifies to give me a value of 1. Okay, so I end up with an x value of negative 1, the y value of a positive 1. And so my vertex is going to be here. And then I remember that my A value is negative, so when I start to graph this, I want it to be going down on this example. So I'm going to use my calculator to complete the rest of my table. So I'm going to plug that value in. So I'm going to go straight in, negative 2x squared minus 4x minus 1. I'm going to pull up that table of values. My middle number is going to be my vertex, and I need to go 2 below that, so negative 3, negative 7, negative 2, negative 1, negative 1, 1, 0, negative 1, and 1, negative 7. So then I can plug in or plot those points. So negative 3, negative 7, 7, negative 2, negative 1, and then here, there, and one more point. Oops, one more point goes here. All right, so then we connect those, and we have our parabola. Okay. If we continue down, we'll do number 4 together. So on number 4, we've now switched to vertex form, which some might believe is easier to work with, which it's fine. Honestly, it's not very difficult either way, as long as you know the formulas to use and the steps. So if we move to number 4, here we have our vertex form. So we have an A value, an H value, and a K value this time. So A is that number outside the parentheses. There's not a number there necessarily, so we are understood that's a negative 1. H is a positive 4 here. The original vertex form, remember, is a minus H. So because we have an opposite sign here, this is going to be a negative 4 value. And then we have a minus 2 here. The original form is a plus 2, or is a plus K. So because we have an opposite, we're also going to pull this out as a negative 2. So my H value here is going to be X is equal to negative 4. So I'm going to have an axis of symmetry at negative 4, and that's where I'm going to draw my vertical line. My vertex is going to be at negative 4, negative 2. So I also can go ahead and put my vertex point right there. That's where it's going to be. And it's going to be opening downward because it's a negative value. So we want to make sure that we get that going in the right direction. So my middle is negative 4, negative 2. I'm going to use my calculator again, and my calculator will do it in standard form or in vertex form, which is really nice. So I'm going to plug this in as a negative, parentheses, x plus 4, close the parentheses, squared, and then I'm going to do minus 2. Pull up that table, and I'm looking for negative 6, negative 6, negative 5, negative 3, negative 4, negative 2, negative 3, negative 3, and negative 2, negative 6 are my values. So I'm going to go ahead and plot those points. So negative 6, negative 6, negative 5, negative 3, and then of course negative 4, 2, negative 3, and negative 2, negative 6. So my graph is going to look like this. Okay, so we move on to this last question, also again in vertex form. So we start with our A is negative 2, H is going to be a positive 1 in this case, and K, there is no number written out here, so K is going to be a 0 value on this one. So we want to pay close attention to things like that. If there's no number inside the parentheses, then the H value is K. If there's no number outside out here, then the K is going to be 0. So axis of symmetry on this case, X is equal to 1. So we're going to have a vertical line here at 1. Vertex point is going to be HK, so 1, 0. So I'm going to have a point right here. And then my graph is going to be opening down. It's a negative 2 here, so I'm going to be going down. So 1, 0 is my middle point. I'm going to go ahead and plug this into my calculator. So negative 2 multiplied by x minus 1, close that out, square it, and open up my table. And I have, let's see, I need a negative 1, a negative 8, 0, negative 2, 1, 0, 2, negative 2, and 3, negative 8. So I'm going to go ahead and plot those points and finish out these example problems. So at negative 1, I should have a negative 8. At 0, I should have negative 2, 1, 0, 2, negative 2, and 3, negative 8. So this graph is going to look just like that. And so that's just the basics for graphing any quadratic, whether it's in standard form or in vertex form.